First at 4, police investigate a sexual assault at a local high school. What we know so far about the investigation and the arrest. Also, prosecutors won't be able to use a disturbing piece of evidence in the trials of Jennifer and James Crumbley, a new ruling in favor of the parents of the Oxford school shooter. Plus, Kim's working on your forecast. Kim?
Well, it's turned into a pretty nice day. We had some sunshine today. Temps made it into the low 40s in a few spots, but a cool day tomorrow and then a warm-up. We'll talk about all of it coming up.
We told you about the local animal sanctuary that rescued this blind horse. He's being loaded up right now to go to MSU for his first examination. The question is, will he get his eyesight back?
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon to you, and thanks so much for joining me. I'm Christy McDonald in for Karen Drew today. First at 4, Sterling Heights police investigate a sexual assault involving a high school student. Investigators say it happened at Henry Ford II High School near the Performing Arts Center on December 5th. It was first reported to police yesterday. We're told detectives have gathered enough evidence to make an arrest in this case, but charges are pending. A juvenile suspect is being held at the Macomb County Juvenile Detention Center. The high school's principal sent a letter to parents saying in part, quote, "We are cooperating fully with the authorities as they investigate what appears to be an isolated incident. Since the investigation is ongoing, we are not able to provide details or speculate further. In addition, we have initiated our own investigation." The school also says it has resources for anyone who might need additional support. An Oakland County judge has granted a pretrial request from the mother of the convicted Oxford school shooter. Attorneys for Jennifer Crumbley asked the court to exclude videos of her son killing birds as evidence in her trial. They argue the videos were too prejudicial and Mrs. Crumbley didn't know about them. The judge agreed and also applied the ruling to the case facing James Crumbley. The husband and wife are set to go on trial separately in January. Both are charged with involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of the 4 Oxford students who died. The Crumbleys deny they knew what their son had planned. In the meantime, their son has been moved from the Oakland County Jail to the Thumb Correctional Facility in Lapeer. The teenager was sentenced to life in prison without parole last Friday. We're told he's currently in the intake process, which could take several days. He has a cell to himself, and he is one of only 7 other juveniles at that prison. He will stay in Lapeer until his 18th birthday, early next year, and then the Department of Corrections will make a permanent placement. Efforts to reform Michigan's juvenile justice system took a step forward today. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist led the task force that helped write the bills and signed new legislation in Detroit. One bill requires risk screening and mental health screening to determine if juveniles might be kept out of detention and instead put into a diversion program. It also requires keeping them in diversion programs for no more than 3 months. Another bill seeks to lower the cost of juvenile justice by removing certain fees and costs for families. The lieutenant governor praised Wayne and Oakland counties for their diversion services and says the new laws make those services more consistent throughout the state.
This will help to right that wrong because, again, whether you are a young person in Alcona County or Delta County or Macomb County, you have the same rights to success.
These tools can help in crafting the plan of support for these children, equipping them with opportunities to change the trajectory of their young lives, returning home to their families, and coming back to our communities and not returning to the system.
The governor's office first established a juvenile justice task force back in 2021 and says the new legislation puts many of its recommendations into practice. Alrighty, as we shift to the first forecast, here's a live look at Southfield. Good afternoon to you. We've seen a lot more sunshine today. It feels pretty good out there, so let's get on over to Kim Adams for a first look at the forecast. Hi, Kim.
Hi there. Well, we have a great day. We've got temperatures in the 40s, couple places in the 30s, but at least we're getting that sunshine. 42 now in Mount Clemens, upper 30s in Ann Arbor. The cool spot now is Howell, which is only at 34 degrees. It's warmer than it was yesterday. In fact, 8 degrees warmer downtown, 7 degrees warmer in Mount Clemens and also in Monroe, 6 degrees warmer right now than it was just 24 hours ago in Ann Arbor. Now, it's going to be a little cooler tomorrow. We'll get our sunshine back, but our highs go close to normal for this time of year, which is in the upper 30s, and then we begin Once again, that roller coaster ride of temperatures will be hovering a little bit above average for the next 7 days. We'll talk about our next chance for rain or snow coming up.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you in a bit, Kim. Thanks. The president of Ukraine is hoping a personal plea might sway members of Congress to keep funding his country's war against Russia. Right now, Congress is in the midst of another contentious spending battle. Kimberly Gill joins us from the newsroom. And Kim, President Zelensky really faces a very different mood this time around on Capitol Hill.
Hi, Christy. Yeah, you're right. It's very different this year. About a year ago, President Volodymyr Zelensky received a hero's welcome in Washington. But today, there's still bipartisan support to fund the war with Russia. But there's also more resistance and more questions as well. Zelensky has been meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill all day, making his case for them to keep helping his army. His troops are fighting a Russian invasion that's been going on for nearly 2 years now. The White House says the U.S. should not let aid for Ukraine lapse, but critics have two objections. They want more accountability for the money America has already spent, and they think the crisis at the southern border of the U.S. deserves more attention. The president has said he's willing to compromise. Zelensky is telling lawmakers there are big risks if the funding goes away.
He made it clear, and we all made it clear, that if we lose, Putin wins. And this will be very, very dangerous for the United States. So we cannot let Putin influence through any surrogate what we need to do for Ukraine.
What the Biden administration seems to be asking for is billions of additional dollars with no appropriate oversight, no clear strategy to win, and none of the answers that I think the American people are owed.
The national security package proposed by the Biden administration asks for $61 billion for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel, and $14 billion for border security. Lawmakers also face a ticking clock as they get ready to leave for their holiday breaks. So we'll have an update on where things stand when you join us for Local 4 News at 5. Christy, we'll send it back to you.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you then. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Israel and the United States are becoming more and more isolated internationally as the war in Gaza rages on. The Israeli military carried out new strikes across Gaza today. It says it gives out warnings before attacks. But humanitarian groups say that more than 7,500 Palestinian children have been killed in the war, more than all other global conflicts combined in the last year. Much of the world is pushing for a ceasefire. Israel and the U.S. argue that any deal that leaves Hamas in power would be a victory for the militant group. Well, back here at home, we're part of an unusual doctor's visit for a horse that caught your attention and inspired many of you to make donations. All right, we told you about a draft workhorse rescued from the meat factory by a local nonprofit. Well, the horse is blind, and they wanted to raise money to see if his sight could be restored. Today, Paula Tutman went along for the ride as Pat the horse saw experts at Michigan State University.
So this is actually where Pat's journey begins. We're at the Pan Equus Animal Sanctuary in Oxford. And as you can see, he's been loaded up and now he is on his way to MSU for his very first eye evaluation. Early this morning at the Pan Equus Animal Sanctuary in Oxford, tears, joy, and a lot of sheer muscle to move this mammoth beast into a trailer for the ride to Michigan State University's large animal clinic.
Come on, step up. Good boy.
Years of hard work, a blind workhorse is not needed or wanted on the farm in the Thumb area. And so when Pat's usefulness was done, he was slated to be auctioned off to a meat factory for dog food, but was rescued one step ahead of doom.
You can see all of this, the opaque right there. That's the lens of the eye, and it's all clouded over, right? So he's just not getting light back on his retinas to see.
After our story aired, Channel 4 viewers stepped in to raise money for an evaluation and possible sight-saving surgery. $40,000 was raised, and today is evaluation day at MSU. This is the first lap of a journey that could lead to restored vision, but there are no guarantees. Workhorses like these rarely get vet interventions, and so depending on the origin of the cataracts and, more importantly, the condition of the retinas, it will determine if Pat is even a true candidate for the surgery that starts at $10,000 per eye.
There's a lot of overlap with human ophthalmology, so very much similar inflammatory conditions, inherited conditions.
Michigan State University's College of Veterinary Medicine is an education gem in the crown of Michigan.
We use a slit beam to give us what we call an optical section through the eye, so we can see the depth of lesions and see the presence of inflammation.
Not only turning out the world's next generations of vets, but doing the kinds of surgeries that dictate quality of life for small pets and beasts of burden alike.
As we study animals with these conditions, it can be useful for humans with the conditions as well. So what we learn in animals can sometimes translate to humans as well.
Well, it didn't take long to find out that it's the worst case scenario for Pat. Not only does he have no light perception, he is completely blind. So it's not just the cataracts, but at the end of the day, as they load him back up into that trailer, one thing Pat can be assured of, and that is his usefulness is not over, and he will get to retire in a place where he is loved and absolutely cherished. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
Thanks, Paula. You can tell Pat's got a really good temperament, no matter the outcome. So Pat will have that home for life at the sanctuary. And in terms of not being eligible for the surgery, each donor will be contacted and be given the opportunity to return their donation if they'd like, or to keep their funds flexible to build a special barrier-free paddock for upkeep for Pat. What a great story, and we'll keep you posted.